Hello and welcome to Policy and Politics with me, Tarun Nangia. This is our special series on brand stories where we chronicle the stories of brands, also the leaders that drive those brands, and also we discuss what are the expectations they have of the government in terms of taxation or any other expectations to drive the business in India. And how can it contribute to the Make in India program of the government? Because if industry produces more, it of course contributes to jobs and the economy. We have a very interesting guest today. I have to welcome Mr. Naveen Soni. He's president of Lexus India. And of course, we know Lexus is a brand that makes luxury vehicles and it's right at the top of the range along with the other three German car makers. Welcome, Mr. Soni, and good to see you
Thank
after
you.
a long, long time.
Same here.
First come first, let me ask you how the year 2022 has been for Lexus India.
I think more than Lexus India, I think it's been last 2 years have been quite impressive as far as the luxury car industry is concerned. Luxury car industry, when I say, represents just top 1% of the Indian car market. But actually, we've been seeing in the last 2 years, it shrank dramatically during the COVID times. And from a peak volume of around 40,000 units, which the industry was delivering, it came down to around 20,000 units in less than 2 years' time. But the resilience, the buoyancy in the economy and the resilience of the economy made it actually jump back to nearly, I would say, if demand was the only criteria, then it would have jumped back to the same levels or even exceeded those levels in this year, because everybody seems to be, in a joyous mood as far as the last year is concerned. The revival is also in the mass market, but in the luxury car market, the rate is nearly double of the mass market, which would mean that what gives us greater joy is that as a percentage of the total car market, we would start delivering more cars as compared to, the total car market. Yeah, as I said, it's just hovering around 1.5%. But if you compare this to the nearest comparatives, that if I were to draw, say countries like Japan, it is 3 to 5% of the total car market. If I'm talking about USA, it will be roughly in the range of 15%. China is about 17% and Europe is as high as 18%, which means that there is headroom available. Now, what will be the growth drivers for this headroom? We'll have to see. The good signs that we are seeing is the government has intentions to grow the economy at a very fast pace, which would mean that the number of, the HNIs and ultra HNIs, which is also likely to grow at double the rate of what it's expected globally. So these are things that are in favor of the industry. For Lexus, I think it was again a record-breaking year for all-time high sales that we have achieved. We have been seeing that, in terms of total business generated, it's been a 3x growth from the previous year gone by. We had to do a lot of efforts in terms of, enhancing our footprint across the India spectrum. So we had to actually increase our number of outlets or number of places where Lexus was available from 4 outlets in 4 cities at the beginning of last year. To the end of last year, it came to about 15 outlets in 13 cities. So more and more Lexuses are available in the luxury car market. And that gives us equal joy as compared to my industry peers. Yeah.
And you are participating this year in the Auto Expo, which will be held in Greater Noida. What can we expect from Lexus India this year?
It was a tough decision for a small player like us to, take part in the auto show where the industry bigwigs were not there. But I think the more visible intention was to, tell the Indian customer what the brand strength is capable of. We may not have all the products here in India, but what the brand is capable of towards zero neutrality, carbon neutrality, and also towards sustainability. So various efforts that we will be showcasing, including the new RX that you see behind me also, and also other products that we will be launching during the introducing to the Indian customer. It will be an exciting evolution for them to understand and see Lexus.
I want to share with the viewers. The Lexus has its own, what you can say, clientele. Many times people, in addition to luxury, also speak about an element of reliability that Lexus cars have. The
Yep.
dependable cars, worry-free, and they can be seen in almost every continent of the world. What I want to ask you is that what is the brand positioning of Lexus as from your point of view?
Sure. So for us, we would like to be seen as not just a mobility partner, but a luxury lifestyle partner. That's the whole intention. We have been known for making luxury personal. All this while, we've heard stories about how the extra mile that the brand takes to kind of go closer to the end customer. But now we are taking the next big leap on making ourselves as a luxury lifestyle partner. In the luxury industry also, there are people who appreciate the kind of finesse, the kind of technology, the kind of engineering, excellence that every brand stands for. So when a Lexus customer comes to us, he is appreciative of these small issues that go into building a Lexus in terms of product refinement, in terms of engineering skills, in terms of detailing. That is something that really attracts the customer, and therefore we have been able to carve a niche out of the entire luxury car market of such connoisseurs, especially who give greater emphasis on design.
I want to ask you these 2-3 things. Lexus as a brand is present in hybrid vehicles, electric vehicles, IC engines. What is the offering in India that you have planned, and what is the ongoing offering?
So, as a corporate philosophy, what we believe is that there are multiple pathways to zero neutrality of carbon. Carbon is the enemy, and therefore we have to find ways and means to reduce carbon footprint. For the product that we sell, predominantly 97% of the products that we sell currently is nothing but strong hybrids, which are actually running both on engine as well as the battery also is supplementing and supporting the process of driving from point A to point B. It has a very good impact because of the current situation that exists in terms of zero reliance on or rather zero requirement of any charging infrastructure. It has a big influence because they run most of the time on electric mode. In the Indian driving conditions, you and I are so familiar with it that most of the times you're playing between the brake and the clutch. Accelerator is not rarely used in our driving conditions, which actually means that when you're braking the vehicle, you're just fueling the vehicle or charging the vehicle in Indian driving conditions. So this is one technology which we have pioneered as a company, and also we have offered this to various forms and shapes. We believe that the consumer will finally choose what is the best technology for him or her. Even the ICE vehicles have been maturing in terms of the engine capacity, in terms of their their fuel efficiencies, carbon footprint reduction, etc., etc. So that is already in process. Now, what we have to see is that as a company, we have also announced that by 2035 we will move towards all electric platforms.
All electric.
Yeah, that has been an announcement that came from Japan last year. So we will be working towards that. And as I said, multiple pathways for carbon neutrality is what we are seeing. Even for the little carbon that we produce or via these hybrids, we are compensating by planting the equal number of trees that will be neutralizing.
One more question that I wanted to ask you in this line. What is the entry-level Lexus cost in India, and what is the top-of-the-line Lexus, and which are those models, the entry-level and the top-of-the-line that you currently offer in India?
So because of lower duty structures that are available for local production, we are fortunate to be producing one of the Lexus models here in India, which is the ES that we produce. Now, this model is currently sold at around 60 lakhs. Around that price is the entry level price for ex-showroom for this vehicle. Then we have various SUVs in the lineup, and the highest model, selling model, and the highest priced model, I would say, is the LX model, which is priced at around 2.82 crores.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you that what are the taxation structure that you have to pay on these cars? Since the budget is on the anvil, is there any specific, in a sense, expectations on the taxation structure of cars that you would want the government to consider or look at?
Sure. So, as far as the taxation is concerned, the vehicles that are produced locally obviously have a big tax advantage because the duty structure is accordingly based on the local GST equivalent duty structure. When we are importing these vehicles as CPU, of course, we end up paying the higher duty structure in terms of
Yes.
deterrent duties, which is but obvious because the government is promoting Make in India.
Yes.
And what I would like to tell you is that, what we have seen is that there is a certain sense of pride and ownership that consumers have when they buy even luxury cars made in India, because they are not able to distinguish between the quality levels because it's produced by the manufacturer. So setting high quality standards is our responsibility, and we fulfill that with all our might. But the consumers see a certain amount of satisfaction even in the sedan segment that we produce this car, the ES. We have seen that some of the consumers have come back and told us very proudly that they were so happy that this car is now being made in India. So these are things in terms of why I'm not raising expectations on the duty structure is because these are governed by global scenarios. Global scenarios, when I say, you're talking about WTO, you're talking about other country by country taxation structures, and every country would like to give privileges to Make in India. And that the government has been giving us those privileges also in case we choose to do that. And that is why I think it is but natural that the government would like to keep a higher taxation structure for cars built outside and brought in India.
Okay. Well, I want to ask you this in the next decade or so, say some 2022 today, 2023, we've just entered.
Yeah.
How do you see Lexus growing as a brand in India? Also, the whole market size growing. What are your expectations on both these fronts?
Sure. So, as I said, the market was growing at a decent pace until 2018. And honestly speaking, for us to imagine that only 1% of the Indian car consumers can afford luxury vehicles is something that is difficult to understand. Yes. I think there are much more potential as far as the Indian car industry is concerned. And as I mentioned to you, even Japan, say about 5%, or in the higher extreme, Europe at 18%, China at 17%. I'm sure there is going to be a greater propensity of people to buy these vehicles. The very fact that we are growing at double the mass market rate would mean that more and more percentage of people can buy luxury cars in India. See, it's very strange that the total luxury car industry that is prevailing in China is nothing but the total car industry that is prevailing in India.
Is that much of a difference?
Yes. Yes.
You mean yes. China is doing something like
3.5 million to 4 million. Yes.
4 million luxury cars in a year?
Yes. So that is something that we have to kind of see. Of course, the duty structures, once it breaks a certain threshold, it will be easier for government to also take those difficult tasks of promoting the industry. But as of now, as we speak, China sells as many luxury cars as we sell total number of cars in India. So I think that what I'm trying to say is that the growth potential is high. There is greater propensity to grow, and India can be the next big thing because India is slowly but surely overtaking other car markets and moving towards now entering the top 3 or maybe if not top 4, at least the top 3. We should be able to aim and reach very quickly.
If you could share with us, if it's possible now that after China, which is the second biggest luxury car market in the world, if China is the largest?
I think USA would be constituting. Yeah. I think by total industry size, USA would be the highest.
Yes.
Because US, the total car industry is around 20 odd million.
Yes.
And if I were to take 15% of that, that would be a substantial, close to 3 million only. But China is also slightly higher on the percentage, but total market is slightly lower. So it's between US and China that would be the two dominant.
And if you speak in India, like we have seen that who's the average Lexus buyer in India? Is he a businessman? Are they professionals? What kind of class constitutes, say, a Lexus buyer? Because
80% of my consumers are businessmen, self-employed businessmen who are doing good for the country, and they are the proud owners for Lexus. Definitely, off late, we are seeing two phenomena. The age is getting younger. People's intention to drive these vehicles, is starting at a much younger age. And also the cities, B and C class cities, the growth rate is very, very high. COVID has taught us just one thing, that you only live once. This YOLO effect is very much visible in the auto industry also, especially in the luxury car industry, where people are wanting to go out and express themselves. And no better way than expressing yourself than drive these luxury beauties that are produced by various cars.
I want to ask also, as far as the luxury car industry goes, do you think that there is any other push by the government in terms of lowering the overall taxation charge that will give an impetus to this industry? For example, if today the tax is about 50-55% of cars value, do you foresee any reconsideration bringing it down to say 28% or so? That will, in a sense, make people drive better, safer cars. More people drive such cars. Because I think, in addition to luxury, I think safety would be something that these cars would be much better on as compared to the other cars.
As I was saying a while ago, that there is a certain threshold that the government would be looking at. If top 1% has to be kind of incentivized, I think the government will have their priorities towards, a different segment, which it would like to support rather than give subsidies to. Subsidies is the wrong word, but lower duty
Taxation,
taxation benefits. So I think as we grow in the industry, as the industry grows and we kind of increase the total industry size, it'll be easier for us to, how should I say this, for the government officer to kind of view this industry as a natural revenue generating industry. Okay. And that would be a time when, the influx of more luxury cars will happen, and that inflection point will take off the industry to a different level. There we can do comparisons to, other markets, like what is the duty structure in other countries versus what it is.
But now the RX that you're going to now introduce this year at the Auto Expo, could you tell something about the car that you're going to introduce this year?
So it's a full model change as far as the RX platform is concerned. We had this vehicle from 2017, and it was finding its own design connoisseurs. Yes. But now what we are getting into is the new RX, which was recently introduced in the US car market. And we are fortunate enough that quickly this car is also coming to India. We will be showcasing this product in two variants, which will be explained during more detail during the auto show, and in exciting colors and interiors, which are, I'm sure, going to catch the fancy of the Indian car customers. The year gone by, we had the younger version of the RX, which is called the NX, which was introduced. And it did catch the fancy of the people. And unfortunately, we are not able to fulfill the supplies point of view because of various geopolitical issues and semiconductor issues. Yeah.
So I want to ask you one more thing, that in the 90s, late 90s and the early 2000s, cars like the Lexus LX 470 and other models were imported by Indians in some amount of numbers, which showed that there was an appetite for Lexus cars in India.
Yes.
But formally, Lexus came to India much later now. Do you think Lexus has been late to the party? Because I think other brands were, walked in the late 90s, so to speak.
I don't think there's a, how should I say this, appropriate time because the market keeps on evolving, the market keeps on growing. So every brand has its own priorities in terms of, when they would like to introduce. So we are fortunate enough that we have just introduced this model less than 5.5 years ago. 2017 is when we launched it.
Yeah.
And we are happy that, that more and more customers are driving these cars and are liking what they are driving. Yeah.
I want to ask you this for this to the year 2023. Big models like India is now big on SUVs. Your models like the LX 570, what kind of response do you foresee? Because Indians are really splurging on SUVs in the past couple of years across segments, so to speak.
Yeah, so the LX, when we didn't even introduce that car formally because of the fact that that there is a huge aura that the brand has created. It's unfortunate that it's got as high as 4 years waiting period in other markets like
Oh yes,
Japan. Yeah, so we did get some allocation, and we did a quite sneak peek in terms of reaching out to the high end customers, and I think it was a matter of hours, if not days, that we sold out.
I mean, LX now has a 4-year waiting period in India too.
We have sold out whatever we were given as allocation. So we are now going to be displaying one of the cars in the auto show. But I think more importantly, whatever allocation was given was sold out within a few hours.
Within a few hours. So you mean there is this pent-up demand that you would wish to, in a sense, fulfill, given more
Yes.
allocation, that there is a pent-up demand that awaits.
It's global, but for such models, yes, there's a very strong pull in various markets. Yes.
And now about my last two questions to you. What is your expectations from Lexus as a brand in 2023 for the Indian market? How do you see it growing? What kind of vehicles in your lineup do you see doing well? And those kind of things.
Sure. So, when we did the customer contact post how should I say, the pandemic striking us, there were two things that actually emerged very loud and clear, that customers' priority towards sustainability and health and wellness is two things that has emerged as top two priorities for them. So we have been consciously working towards, making sure that the cars that we produce or we deliver resonate well with them because of the kind of products that they are. Hybrids produce less carbon footprint, so obviously that's a very natural choice. Gives them freedom from charging, gives them freedom from, how should I say this, infrastructure dependence. So it charges self-charging vehicles which charge on the move. Yeah. So these are the current choices that we have given. Inside the vehicle also, everything, most of the steel is recycled. The plastics are recycled. The speakers are made out of bamboo charcoal. And once we had actually tried to do, we are given to understand Japan has tried to do dismantling of these cars. So 97% of these cars can be recycled. So which means that the customer's intention to have a sustainable living is fulfilled towards that product that he or she is given. Besides this, we will be continuously studying the requirements of the market because luxury also is evolving. Luxury is getting more and more personal. Luxury is getting more and more refined. So people are wanting to have an expression different than what the others have. So from that point of view, differentiation becomes a very important criteria. So we'd like to work towards that.
And in 2023, how many cities can customers walk into a Lexus showroom?
So currently we are at 15. I think if everything goes well, we'd like to, close to maybe about 20, 25 cities we'd like to reach out.
So these are all the top urban agglomerations in India.
So most of them are A class townships, but now we are getting into B and C class townships also.
So like almost every major state in India will have a Lexus presence.
Yes, that's how we would like to have it.
That's good. So we wish you best of luck for the Auto Expo that you're participating in. We also wish you all the very best for the year 2023, and we would like to do a mid-year interview with you, seeing how you're faring in 23 sometime in June. But sure. From our end, best wishes and looking forward to an interesting Lexus lineup at the Auto Expo. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.